Absolutely. So we are talking about all this data, about all those integrations, and we are very close to the next best action as the point which will help us to connect the both. So if we have the next best action in place, because we know that most of companies are really working on this topic because it is bringing a lot of benefits to have this united face in front of the healthcare professional, and we really rely on this technology. So we are always like next best action is our smart machine, which will help us to make the right step, to lead the relevant conversation, to understand the expectations from the healthcare professional. So do you think that today it's really difficult to feed the right level of data, create the data basics to have this functional next best action engine inside the organization? How difficult it is and how important it is from your point of view?
So I'll start with how difficult it is. I think it's getting less difficult. There are a lot more tools now that can more seamlessly pull data from various silos into a single repository. And the key is you don't need every piece of data from the beginning of time. So let's say if you have 10 silos, it may be only 2 that contribute 80% of the integrity of that next best action engine. So focus on those 2. So I don't think it's the integration of data. I think to some degree it's culture and fear, and also culture meaning I don't want to mix with this silo. I belong separate. You're going to interfere with the purity of my message versus changing that attitude. It's not interfering. It's helping the doctor consume the message that's most meaningful to them at a pivotal moment. And AI can also help us with those conversations. It's an external objective resource. And so the next best engagement is MSL. But you did such a great job. The next best one now is market access. Now it's patient support and giving them a view of how that program works. And now they want the science to determine how well your product is working. So I don't think it's the integration. I think it's the culture. And if we can get people at the table together around next best engagement, the journey of the doctor in an objective way, that you're not judging them, but you're helping their message to be consumed at the right time when the person is most receptive to it. The other part of it, though, is with next best engagement, it's not just operational. If the next best engagement is not the science, these are my 10 scientific messages, and you're going to get it whether you like it or not. And if next best engagement is not, that's not what it is. It's, the field reimbursement has to remove friction. And then they're going to want the science. You have to be culturally ready to accept that. And sometimes what I've seen is a hesitancy around that. So make it about the technology when it's really about collaboration. The most successful teams find a real job, I don't want to say project, but they find a real deliverable around that experience that they're all working together on, rather than making it a pilot or a project, and it's built in. And through that, you are enhancing collaboration.
Exactly. The real collaboration is delivered by people, supported by technologies and processes. And that's absolutely right. So when we want to make the model we are discussing operational, so we not only need to have a look and feel in front of the client as the members of the same team, the same crew members, but also we need to understand from our perspective as MSL and the sales rep that there is a united healthcare professional profile in front of us, that we can see the very same doctor with our MSL eyes and our commercial eyes, but this is the very same doctor. We need to see the very same person has the very same needs, and must be supported by the systems. It must be supported by platforms and different types of the software. But in the nutshell, we need to see that this is a person we are talking to. We are satisfying the questions. We are giving the answers, the scientific information. We are working with the very same person. So that's what do you think about that? I think like this is one the top of the thinking it should have.
Absolutely. You hit it perfectly. We're talking to the same person. So therefore, a unified view of that person, that you don't own them or I own them. We all own them together. Now, in the current systems, the companies I've worked with, you can have a view across platforms of whether an MSL visit took place. There can be some limited views across teams. There's some limited integration, but it has to be more to really empower. So just as an example, let's say we have an MSL resource repository and information is fed to our customer facing colleagues that there was a visit, and vice versa. There was a visit during that time. But at the same time, it has to be a little more data around the compliant, of course, uh, the nature of the visit, what was the doctor's interest, what piqued their interest the most, so that you can truly have a next best engagement mechanism. The algorithm has something to work with, not just that you were there. And waiting to be perfect will never yield results. And where I've seen the most success, people just take a step forward with what they have. They were there, and this scientific paper seemed to resonate the most. That's helpful. Start there and build on that. The interconnectedness is available now in a limited way, but it could be much more robust.
It's a beautiful way to say that, so that this is in progress. This is in building, in making. We are all witnessing that. But also there is a very sharp angle to that usually these structural changes are very poorly budgeted. We usually are not supported at the full extent as restructure is needed. So being very honest and transparent, and many people are listening and watching us. So what you would recommend as, like, what should change, what, like, even we do not have all the budget we need, but what exactly you will recommend as the next change which is possible?
I would say first, our ways of working. So again, less siloed behavior. So when the commercial team is reading out on commercial metrics, engagement, customer journey, analytics, and all of those areas around your media, you have your medical team there. My experience is when you extend the invitation, they're so thrilled to be part of that. So continue doing that. And also there are different readouts. So with the commercial and medical, there might be just for the MSL team only, you're an agenda item, but it's that shared view that we're discussing. We're just sitting down and communicating. So I have seen that work. The second thing that has to change is those commercial capabilities that we speak of a lot, and predicting when a doctor should see an MSL. Take the commercial lens, but also use it to solve a practical problem that the team might have. So next best engagement, or predicting this doctor needs to see an MSL next week for maximum impact. You're helping them with the value they're bringing, but you are also helping them use time more efficiently. Similarly, patient support resources, uh, predicting when they should see a patient experience liaison, feeding that to the MSL team so they can go in and have a more holistic view of what that customer has done. Some of these types of engagements can be integrated now. You don't have to have every piece of data. Again, if there are 20 silos, it might be just 2 or 3 that really matter that have to be on each other's dashboards. And where I've seen success is when people prioritize and they don't try to boil the ocean. It's ways of working. All readouts are together. And then you have a special readout for the MSL team on the commercial areas and vice versa, reading out for commercial. But then also those capabilities, they're being used to enhance the MSL experience as well as for them to be more efficient in who they see and when, because they usually stretch really thin over a huge geography. And also relevancy, so that your message is heard when it should be at the optimal time and when it will be most relevant.
That's absolutely, absolutely, absolutely key. So because these changes, they are not just making sure that we unite the both functions. We really do understand that we protect the exclusivity and distinction between commercial and medical roles, because these firewalls exist for real reasons, because scientific credibility, regulatory integrity, HCP trust. The goal is not to dissolve all of that. The goal is to design the collaboration so precisely that healthcare professional will never feel where commercial ends and medical begins, and they will feel this as the very same journey. As you are saying, we are not boiling the ocean, we are just making the necessary changes to make sure that the person we are communicating with is feeling this integrity between us as the team, medical and commercial. That's absolutely great, Elaine. I think we have highlighted the reason for this collaboration. We have highlighted the blockers. We were really eliminating the technology as the blocker, so which is important, and we're really on the track that the progress is in making, so we are going there. It's absolutely a good thing we have done here. And now there is a very interesting section, hot or not. I have some statements or questions which are even a little bit controversial. So like they are having some doubts in them. If you agree with them, you say hot. If you don't, you say not. If you want to a little bit deepen the answer, you can add why you think so. But let's start and bring this fun on.
Okay.
Okay, the first one. The healthcare professional of 2026 needs pharma for the relationship, not for the information.
Hot. It's hot, but they need them for the relationship and the information. But they don't need you the same way they once did. They need you to help them navigate all the resources that pharma has available to them. And all the resources is holistic. It's not just selling. It's patient support, market access. Less than 10% of patients that could benefit from support actually take advantage of it. You could be the orchestrator in helping them realize what resources are available and be in front of them when they actually need it. The beauty of orchestration and artificial intelligence. So yes, that is hot.
Excellent. The next one is my favorite one. Most commercial medical collaboration in pharma is coordinated rather than integrated.
Totally hot. Not. Yes. It's coordinated mean out of task. Integrated means working together on a shared deliverable that mandates our working together. And I think the key is if we imagine a perfect world where we work together on everything, we're always going to be disappointed. But let's find specific deliverables where we can align together, including one another in one another's forums, so that it's more natural for specific initiatives, tasks, projects, but not that it's going to be a perfect world. Take a step forward, progress, not perfection.
Absolutely. 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 There is one very confusing. MSL insights are the most underutilized signal in pharma's channel strategy.
Totally agree. Totally hot. Because it's often very siloed. And again, where can it be more integrated? a patient journey council, customer experience team, where both parties have to be at the table together. What parts of that journey were more owned, for lack of a better term, by the MSL, and what parts of it does the commercial team have to be more of a lead? And then where do we work together, overlapping? So absolutely, but it has to be a specific job. If we just do a RACI and let's all work together, we have incentives, it's not as effective and it will be short-lived.
Absolutely. You are the person who knows that from their own experience, not just from the races. So like this is absolutely no out of the question. I have the interesting one about the data. The healthcare professional data most pharma is acting on is months old, commercially biased, and medically blind.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, again, hot. And I think what makes it especially hot is it doesn't really have to be that way. We have the tool that can make that data more real time. We have to have a champion of that operational process, working with that visionary and strategist. Now, if people say, oh, that's a massive undertaking, and again, it goes back to what data matters most. So if I have data coming from 10 sources, I may only need 2 for 80% of the integrity of my engine to do its job. And it's determining what that is and then governing that. But yes, we still have that lag, and we don't have to have that the way we once did anymore. We can have real-time analytics, real-time recommendations as to how to best serve our customers and deliver the highest ROI.
Absolutely, absolutely. So that's even these very, very, very interesting question, but you have done the complete answer. But if we talk about customer experience, most pharma customer experience strategies are designed around what the company wants to say, not what the healthcare professional needs to hear.
Totally hot. Yes. What happens with customer experience is that we have a brand vision, but then to execute it, we invested in capabilities, but then we just said, hey, I'm going to invest in capabilities just to push out what I want the customer to hear. But the whole point of the capabilities was to help you to be more relevant and contextual as to what the customer would like from you, not what you want to push out. So capabilities and culture go hand in hand. And our culture didn't necessarily pivot to use the capabilities. Now, with that said, it's not a perfect world and we can't wait to be perfect. So we can find pockets of customer centricity on a path to changing that. So therefore, onboarding new customers with market access information, patient support journeys. What does my customer really want to hear? And when it's that message, acting on it. And then transitioning into a brand message. It's not going to be perfect, but it's being responsive to the customer first as a gateway to the brand message that you want to deliver. So I think those types of approaches I've seen work well. Market access is a huge opportunity for marketing orchestration and next best engagement. And it's been shown when you lead with those types of messages, when that's the next best engagement, you actually get a more high quality brand message afterwards and you improve field access. So more of those types of scenarios, that's where I've seen success, and partnering with organizations like yours to bring that to life.
That's so true. Like there are all these opportunities for market access and, with the modern technologies and with nowadays, the environment is ready and the markets are so ready for all this innovation. You are so right. Um, I think now the last but not least, the healthcare professional who feels sold to by commercial and interrogated by medical is customer experience failure.
Yeah. And this also refers to my earlier point as well. And I want to be clear. I'm not saying move away from the science. The science is what gives us credibility. It's what gives us trust. It's what truly differentiates. But at the same time, sometimes you have to earn the right to bring your science. You have to open the door for the MSL beauty and rigor in science to be heard. And sometimes that is opening the door through building trust around support. And then they say, okay, now tell me more about those studies so I know I can use it with confidence. I think your point around being sold, that's been shown in studies, in research, that there is still this lingering mistrust. Stop selling me, talk to you like you know me, help me remove friction for my patients. And that is a medical and commercial collaboration. It can't be just one. So you can help remove friction through a field reimbursement team or patient support, but ultimately the trust in the product that it will be effective, that I should use this for the longer term, has to come from a medical lens. Properly onboarding the doctor at the moment they first write your product, that is a medical and a commercial partnership to do that well, reinforcing confidence in the science and also confidence that once you embrace that, I support you because I'm here for your patients. And continuing that dialogue over time, following them over time in science and in support. The MSL relationship is critical. And when we find those deliverables where we're working together, not just a race, we see the beauty of that partnership and their role.
Absolutely. I'm so grateful for this conversation and your honest and transparent opinion shared here. So this conversation just a big proof of for what this podcast was designed for. So I'm so grateful for our guests and I'm grateful for our listeners. Please don't hesitate to take away what we have discussed here. So because the healthcare professional experience is in your hands, this is the output of everything pharma as organization is building together. So to support the clinical decisions, to have the impact on quality of our everyday lives. So this is for what we are working here and building this trust and this transparency and communication. Elaine, thank you so much for sharing this. And for our listeners, Pharma Talks is available whenever you listen to our podcast. Please reach out to Elaine with questions. If you have any, reach out to me and to the Zeven. And here, Elaine Gamble and Nataliya Andreychuk. And till the next time at Pharma Talks.
Thank you so much. It was truly my pleasure. And yes, please reach out.